The Minnesota Timberwolves have won 5 straight games, and their offense is humming in a way we haven't seen this season, and maybe in a way we haven't seen in multiple seasons. They just dropped 141 points on the Spurs to secure that 5th straight win, and now they're scoring a ridiculous 1.25 points per possession over those 5 games. They're finally getting fully healthy again. Their trade pieces that didn't seem to gel with the roster early in the season are now in tune with everything they're doing, and they look awesome offensively. And that Spurs game gave us the perfect microcosm of how this team is just wrecking their opponents with their offense right now. I touched on this a little bit in the previous video, but they're striking the perfect balance between that free-flowing ball movement and rigid set plays, and then they're finding the sweet spot where those two things fuse together to create a truly weaponized offense. Now, ball movement isn't just about moving the ball, it's about moving bodies and spacing the court the right way as well, and Minnesota is nailing all of those aspects right now. Here it's early offense to Naz Reid in the post with 4 spaces around him, and you'll notice here how those spaces all vacate that side of the floor. That gives Reid space to operate, but it also bends the defense so when they throw the double team at Reid, they can get the Spurs into rotation with extra passes, a really smart cut here from Conley to keep the spacing and provide an option when his man is in the gaps on Randle, and again, body movement is crucial. That's why this slicing cut from Randle to the front of the rim is what ends the possession with the best look possible. The Randle aspect of this offensive upgrade has been particularly impressive. Sure, there's a lot of cogs in this ball movement machine. You need this curling decoy dive from Anthony Edwards, just like you need Naz Reid to come up off this handoff because he has the driving gravity to pull this defender toward him and keep the ball movement wheel spinning, but it's all flowing through Randle right now. He's drawing second defenders in drive and kick game to help this style of offense, but he's also a gravitational field in post-ups where defenders just crowd him like this, and then he ends possessions with kickouts for open shots. I think Minnesota's offense was already starting to percolate while Randle was injured, but with him back and seemingly better than ever, they've taken that to another level. He seems to be driving offense with his playmaking in those post-up or drive and kick situations, and Minnesota really do look better for it. And now they're really starting to lace their offense with a bunch of set plays and repeatable actions that teams are struggling to defend. With Gobert back against the Spurs, they hammered them with flare screening actions, where Gobert is going to set that off-ball flare screen. This time they flip it into a zoom for Jaden McDaniels to come off a handoff and a pin down, and if McDaniels gets a lane to the rim with his man hung up on a screen, he's in too good a rhythm to not take advantage at the rim. And the key here is that they can really rely on those movement principles to make these actions work. So when McDaniels comes off that same action and CP3 gets through the screens to bottle him up, it's Mike Conley who's going to back cut to the rim, keep the ball popping, draw the defender, and then find Gobert for easy points. So these flare screening actions can be sledgehammers that lead to easy buckets, like here where it's Reid coming off the Horns flare action, and when he catches off that flare, he's got this little runway to attack as the defense switches, and that's enough to get him going downhill for a bucket. But they can also be chisels where they take a bit of unselfishness to pan out. Again, when it's Randle pulling the strings, he's able to manipulate the defense off that flare, draw 2 defenders, and then find Gobert on the lob at the rim. So you can see how it's a simple action, but it's the commitment to moving the ball and the bodies that makes it look so good. And they've been doing the same thing with this wedge action lately as well. So a wedge screen is this diagonal up screen by a smaller player for a bigger one, and this time they go ball screen, flip it into a down screen for DiVincenzo to curl up off. His shooting gravity opens up a rolling lane for Gobert to dive into and draw a foul, and this team has a bunch of these options branching off that wedge screen. This time Randall is going to use it to flow into the post again, and if he's rocking with a single coverage matchup, he's going to drop them off at the rim with relative ease. So when they go back to it on the very next possession, teams are going to react to that. They're going to start sending another body into the fray, and that's when the extra pass mentality is going to create good looks for this team. And again, these set plays really start to look good when it links up with the cutting and the ball movement around it. So when Randall gets to his spot off the wedge screen and the defense crowds him, Jaylen Clark makes the cut to the rim, Alexander Walker curls into the paint as well, and Randall makes the right pass, then Clark puts some sauce on it to Alexander Walker, and that simple action turns into an example of champagne hoops. This team is just nailing their offensive actions right now. Everybody seems to be on the same page, the coaching staff are pushing the right buttons, and they've developed a team-wide, unselfish mentality that makes these kinds of actions possible. And we haven't even touched on Donte DiVincenzo yet. He's flying off screens as one of the best movement shooters in the league. He's nailed 23 threes on almost 55% shooting from deep in this 5-game stretch of games. His movement off the ball and ability to nail jumpers in a variety of situations really adds a dangerous layer to this whole thing, and it always feels like that ball and body movement is peaking when he's on the floor. You throw in Anthony Edwards' ability to get off some of those actions or be a home run hitter on his own outside of the offensive flow, and I'm pretty confident in saying this is the best offense I've seen from the Timberwolves in a number of years. If you enjoyed this breakdown, you can support Howls and Growls in the pinned comment below, subscribe to the channel, or drop a like on this video.